morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Global Atheist News Roundup, dateline 23rd of March 2024. This week's headlines. A Palestinian mob that included his parents and twin brother brought Karim Jabarin out to the street, tortured him, and then beheaded him. Lawmakers in the Gambia vote to lift the ban on female genital mutilation. The Israeli rabbinate is under scrutiny as religious issues threaten the government's wartime unity. Haiti violence. Residents see no end to the crisis as the capital city reels from gang warfare. A Turkish lawyer has been arrested for a tweet. ISIS claims responsibility for the Moscow concert attack. Network Rail removes Ramadan message after complaints in King's Cross Station. And a majority of public support for removing the Isle of Man bishops vote from their parliament. A young Palestinian boy was beheaded by other Palestinians, including his parents and brother. His body was spat on and desecrated after being accused of collaborating with Israel. See this video. Lawmakers in the West African nation of the Gambia have taken the first significant step to repeal a ban on female genital mutilation, also known as FGM and female genital cutting. The Gambia passed a ban on FGM in 2015, but it wasn't enforced until last year. Even then, it was barely enforced, with just 3 people facing heavy fines. Since FGM is often inflicted upon girls and women by their family members, cases in most countries that ban FGM are not reported to authorities. 42 out of the 47 of the overwhelmingly male majority National Assembly voted to repeal the ban, which would make the Gambia the first nation to ever repeal a ban on the horrific and cruel practice that over 20 countries have banned in the past 2 decades. The bill seeks to uphold religious loyalty and safeguard cultural norms and values, said Almame Gibba, a member of the Gambia's parliament who introduced the bill. The use of a ban on female circumcision is in direct violation of the citizens' rights to practice their culture and religion, he said. The bill will now face 3 months of consultations in the Gambia's parliament, which is a relief to advocates who hope to have more time to convince the government to change its mind. Supporters of FGM have often condemned those who refer to this practice as mutilation or cutting, saying that demonizes those who are engaging in a religious and cultural practice. They prefer instead to call it circumcision, which is, quite frankly, a nonsensical and false way to describe this practice. A majority of Islamic scholars say that FGM is not required, and some have condemned the practice because it is not mentioned in the Quran. FGM includes several different practices, but the main one involves the removal of external female genitalia, including the clitoris and labia minora. It is often conducted in unsanitary conditions, has no medical benefit, and has devastating long-term impacts. FGM has a devastating impact on girls and women. Immediate risks include severe pain, excessive bleeding, tissue swelling, and death. Long-term complications include painful urination, urinary tract infections, scar tissue, keloid formation, and an increased risk of childbirth complications. FGM has a massive impact on sexual health, including a significant decrease or elimination of sexual satisfaction and painful sexual intercourse. Many girls and women experience symptoms associated with PTSD from the barbaric practice, which includes flashbacks and nightmares. Many girls and women face severe depression and anxiety, particularly since it's often performed on them by relatives. A health survey conducted in 2019 to 2020 revealed that 73% of women in the Gambia between the ages of 15 and 49 had been subjected to genital mutilation. Despite the likelihood that the ban will be reversed, advocates against FGM are vowing not to give up. Countries with bans on FGM include Ethiopia, Kenya, Sudan, and Egypt. An investigation has been opened against Israel's state rabbinate after an organization that advocates for converts' rights brought a complaint before the country's High Court. The complaint alleges that the rabbinate abused its power and disregarded transparency procedures when determining which conversions to Judaism are valid in the eyes of Israeli law. Conversion is frequently a fraught topic in Israel. The country's law of return grants foreign Jews citizenship under a broad definition designed to welcome all those who would have suffered for their Jewish identity or heritage. But upon arrival in Israel, foreign Jews become subject to the rabbinate's much narrower definition of who is a Jew, one that strictly follows an orthodox interpretation of Jewish law. This case affects more than converts' faith, as many aspects of life in Israel, such as marriage, divorce, and burial, are relegated to religious authorities such as the rabbinate, Islamic Waqf, or various Christian bodies. Getting recognition from the rabbinate is not just some legal thing. For many, many couples, it's what I would call even the Holy Grail, explained Rabbi Seth Farber, the founder of ITIM, the group that brought the case. Under current rules, there's an injustice being done to legitimate converts, he said. Port-au-Prince is in panic mode. Residents of Pétionville, a wealthier area of the city, are shaken after their most violent day so far in the country's spiraling security crisis. More than a dozen bullet-ridden bodies lay in the street, the victims of the latest gang rampage. As well as the early morning killing spree, the home of a judge was also attacked, a clear message to the country's elites vying for power. All this in what is supposedly the safe part of town. UNICEF's executive director, Catherine Russell, has called the situation in Haiti horrific and likened the lawlessness to the post-apocalyptic film Mad Max. Certainly, the latest violence in Port-au-Prince is a reminder, if anyone needed, that Haiti remains closer to anarchy than to stability. As she filled up plastic jerry cans with water from a standpipe in the street in Port-au-Prince, Farah Oxima, the 39-year-old mother, admitted she was struggling to provide the food and water for her 9 young children. "I don't know what to do. I'm watching the country collapse," she said. "Only God can change this place, because from where I'm sitting, I can't see that any other change is coming." In Turkey, a Sharia lawyer was arrested for a bold tweet. See this video.
Sharia. Turkish lawyer arrested for bold tweet. In a bold expression of dissent, Turkish lawyer Feyza Altun faced imprisonment for her critique of Sharia law on social media, particularly highlighted by her forthright comment, F Sharia, in response to interaction on social media. This action led to her arrest by Istanbul's Beykoz Chief Public Prosecutor's Office under charges of inciting enmity or hatred towards a religious group, as defined by Article 216 of the Turkish Penal Code. Altun's defense in court was compelled and defiant, stating, quote, "For me, what you call Sharia is the Taliban mindset that stones women on the streets."
At least 133 people were killed and more than 140 injured when gunmen attacked a packed concert venue on the outskirts of Moscow, Russia says. A large fire engulfed the roof of the complex, and dramatic video shows panicked concertgoers taking cover as shots and explosions ring out. Russian President Vladimir Putin says all 4 gunmen have been arrested and that the suspects were trying to flee to Ukraine. Kyiv says allegations of Ukrainian involvement are observed, and the Islamic State group said it did it. A sign at London's King's Cross station that displayed an Islamic message for Ramadan has been removed, Network Rail said. Passengers posted photos of the message on social media, along with a mix of complaints and praise for the passage. Network Rail said the message should not have been displayed on the main train departure board. A spokesperson told BBC London, "We celebrate all the big religious festivals from Christmas to Ramadan at King's Cross to reflect our diverse passenger and employee base. However," he said, "our main departure board should be reserved for train information, and our general Ramadan celebratory messages weren't used for some reason which we are looking into. All has now been corrected." Some took to X and complained about the passage, known as a hadith, being displayed. Humanist UK posted a statement on the social media platform to say it felt public train stations should not be urging sinners to repent. The campaign group said, "It is obviously inappropriate and profoundly misjudged to broadcast hadiths or any religious scriptures at passengers. We will be writing to the Transport Secretary to outline our concerns." Others welcomed the messages, which have been posted on other days of Ramadan at King's Cross, and the Islam channel said, "The beauty of Ramadan in unexpected places. A Ramadan hadith was spotted at King's Cross station, which reminds us of the blessings and wisdom this holy month brings." The majority of Isle of Man residents support removing the bishop's vote in the island's parliament, a new survey has shown. 51% of respondents were in favour of removing the vote, with 49% against. A total of 2,934 people responded to the consultation, about 3% of the island's population. 52% also supported ending the practice of holding prayers before sittings of the Parliament, with 48% against. One Church of England bishop, the Bishop of Sodor and Man, sits by right in the Legislative Council, the upper house of the Tynwald. As well as voting on legislation, the bishop leads prayers at the beginnings of sittings in the Legislative Council. The consultation was held following a successful second reading of a private member's bill which would remove the bishop's vote. Following this news, Tercia and I are going to chat with guest Rob Palmer in Free Thought Hour. Rob does voluntary work for Skeptical Inquirer, Guerrilla Skepticism on Wikipedia, and Recovering from Religion. You can join in, chat with us while we're live. This has been Global Atheist News. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.